Welcome back to Area 31. Today I am revisiting Boquete, Panama, and I'm going to kind of redo the last video I did on Kris Kremers and Lisanne Froon, and it was a part 1 and 2, the missing Dutch girls in Panama. I wasn't really happy with the way the second part of that came out, so I kind of wanted to redo the whole thing here. I've been doing some research and studying, and I've got some not new information, but I've got information on where they were hiking to. If you saw the first video, and I'll put a link to it somewhere up here, and I wasn't really sure just where they were hiking to. I hadn't done research before I did that before, and I was under the impression they were trying to hike to the top of the Baru volcano, because there is a lot of misinformation out there about this, and I don't want to be adding to that. So you can see I put some markers up, and we'll be looking at those here in a little bit. So we're going to start here at the trailhead. I tried to fly the Cessna through Boquete to where I thought the trailhead would be, and I got completely lost, and I was just having a lot of trouble that day, and I should have waited and filmed that later on, but I didn't have this information either. So I went on a web page, or I found one today, or in the last couple of days, a pretty new YouTube channel, and this guy has a video on Kris and Lisanne, and he seems to be pretty right on, kind of what I have heard in the past about the location. So anyway, I highly recommend you check out his channel. He's got a lot of good stuff on there, a lot more information than I'm gonna have here for you. So anyway, we're just gonna go over the basics of where they started their hike. It was about 11:30 in the morning. This is the El Planista Trail. The trailhead's down here. You can actually go down here with the Google Earth and look at that. Stand right there on the road and see. At first I thought this might be the top of the volcano. It is not. This is just a trailhead here, and you kind of lose where the trail goes from here. But it ends up going up through here, and of course the Google Earth is kind of messed up right here, unfortunately. But they were going to the El Mirador volcano, and it's not very far from the beginning of the trailhead to the summit. Is just right here. And look at that, I spelled summit wrong. There should be 2 M's in there, but this is the summit right here. So the girls had taken some photos down in the beginning, down in this area here. You can find those online, and then I've got several photos of them up here on top. And this is, you can see it's marked El Mirador del Planista, but this is basically the top of the volcano right here where they were taking pictures at. But as you can see, the Google map is just not really clear there. So this is the summit. So they made it up this far, and most people would have turned back. I'll share some from some stuff I found, showing a map drawing of this area here. And you know, they got up to this far, and apparently they continued on, which is probably what got them into trouble. There is the last normal photo. As you can see, I got it marked. It's right about in this area. They're actually starting down the other side, and we got 2 photos of Kris. Lisanne apparently is behind the camera. We don't really know. She looks a little funny in this last photo, kind of a strange look on her face. So cannot see the trail, obviously. The Google map is just not very clear. So this was the last normal photo. They've tracked them to this area right in here. But where they ended up going from here, nobody knows. Later on, like 8 days later, they made a bunch of phone calls. Don't know where they took place in this area, probably. If they kept going down this way, I don't know. They would have been found because the search teams were definitely searching up in here, but then they should have been found, but they were not found. So down here, somewhere down in here, I would assume, is where the famous night photos took place. I've got a couple of them here. They're all just kind of like this, and it doesn't really make any sense as to what they were taking pictures of. There's theories, of course, and one of them that this webpage talked about was using the camera to take a flash picture and then going back and looking at it on the LED screen and seeing what the camera saw and trying to figure out if it's safe to go that way. That's something I hadn't really thought about, but this guy brought that up in the video, so highly recommend watching that video. Very, very interesting. So we got a cable bridge down here. It's extremely dangerous. I've seen the cable bridge, pictures of it. It would be really difficult to cross. It's somewhere down in this area. And we're going to fly the Cessna, try to find all this here in a little bit. And this is continuing down the river. This is quite a long ways from where they should have went. And this is going to, the town of Alta Romero is somewhere in this area. It doesn't really show up. Some remains have been found right in this area here. The backpack was found somewhere in this area. These aren't precise, but I just kind of put a marker there, corresponding to the other maps that I've seen. More remains down here. Exactly where Lisanne's foot was found still inside her hiking boot is somewhere down in here. All the skin from her leg that was still fairly fresh, and Kris's bones were found, but they were completely null and void of any kind of tissue or anything. They said that they had kind of maybe been bleached or something. I don't know. So anyway, this is where it took place, pretty close to this area here. So as I said in the first video, I was thinking they went up this way, but I wasn't sure. Now I'm pretty sure this is the location of where the girls were at, and the last known location. And that's apparently when I changed that thing. When the 911 phone call started somewhere. I think this is a continental divide here, I'm not sure. But anyway, let's go get the Cessna and take off from, we're going to go way back here to the city of David. That's actually the closest airport. Look at that, Los Angeles. Not too far from Los Angeles here. Anyway, the city of David has an airport, so we'll fly this way and again. Try to find this trailhead, that's where I'll pick it up at, and just fly this area here and just see what it's going to look like on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020.